So I have a video clip to show you guys, so take a look at this. Now, that is quite surprising. This is the Sinquefield Cup, round 5, very serious tournament, classical chess going on. Why is Jan breaking into laughter? Well, this video will try to explain what is going on, and it also will contain some interesting and I think very useful chess endgame wisdom that you can apply to your own games. Okay, so let's understand what is going on here. In this position in front of you, Jan has the white side, and this is the exact game that was shown in the clip. So his opponent is Ding Liren, and in around this structure and around this move, he starts laughing. So let's understand what's going on, and to do so, we need to actually go back to round 4 of the Sinquefield Cup. So this is round 5. We're gonna go back one day in the past, and this position was reached in round 4. Now, if they look similar, that's because they are. In fact, many people instinctively, when they look at these two positions that I just showed, might even think that they come from the same game and are just a before and after picture with some moves played in between. But no, these were two distinct games, and the commonality between them, aside from their structure and their shared properties, is the player. Ian Nepomniachtchi here had the black side in this endgame, and again, from round 4, he was playing Wesley So in this endgame, and today in round 5, he was playing the white side of essentially the exact same endgame. So he was laughing based on how familiar the endgame was, and it's not every day that you reach similar positions in chess, let alone back-to-back games in the most elite tournament going on right now, and let alone not only the same type of endgame with the same pieces, but the exact same structure. I mean, the pawns are on the exact same files. You wouldn't expect to find 2 of these endgames in the entire tournament between all of the games of all the players, and yet Jan had the exact same position back to back. Okay, so this was a fun story, but I'm not going to end the video here because there's actually a very interesting detail that I want to mention. As you know, this is a largely chess educational channel, and there's a lot of education that could actually be said about this game here. Because Jan, okay, with the white side here, the game fizzled out into a draw, which is objectively what should happen. Ding Liren with the black side defended well, but if we go back to the round 4 game, where Jan had the black pieces and had to defend the pawn down position, which he should have been able to do, he actually messed up, and he ended up losing this game, and Wesley So converted in pretty successful fashion, and it was this exact position where I think Jan made perhaps the biggest serious mistake. Maybe not according to the engine, but I think at least practically, this is where he had 2 options, and one very clearly maintained the equality, and the other one allowed white to actually push for the win. So it's a very instructive position. What would you play here with the black side? And let's see if you will play the mistake, the very natural mistake that Jan played, that actually ends up kind of losing, or will you play the correct move? So if you said king f6, what could be more natural? You're activating the king. Okay, it has some very far-fetched dreams of coming over and wrecking the white king side. But unfortunately, that is all it is. It is just far-fetched dreams, because on the very next move, white, Wesley So, played h4, and as it turns out, the king on f6 is greatly misplaced because, well, okay, it's no longer having any direct purpose, and on the contrary, it's actually blocking in the f7 pawn, and this means, by extension, that none of black's kingside pawns are really mobile, right? The way that you would get the pawns rolling down the board would actually start with the correct move, f5, and this is the correct approach. When you put your king in front of the pawn, the issue there is that the entire king side becomes static, and what this means is that, as you'll see, white ends up even giving away the f-pawn, but it doesn't matter because the d-pawn is going to decide the game. Unfortunately, the king can't move. It has nowhere to go aside from where it just came from, and the black pawns aren't going to be able to generate enough counterplay because they can't move either, because the king is blocking the f-pawn. And so white slowly brings the pawn up the board. And okay, eventually black does manage to kind of crack on the king side with h5, but it's too little and too late, and the white pawn is simply going to win the game, and Jan decided to resign here. Now, if we compare this to what happened in this game, you can see that the black pawns quickly pushed, and this is the correct approach. This is what Jan should have gone for if we go back, actually. And I know I'm kind of jumping around between these positions, but hopefully you're staying with me. What black should have gone here, as I said, is to play f5 in this position. And the idea is that you are breaking open the position, and your pawns now are going to give your position the energy and the counterplay that it needs so greatly. And now, unfortunately, this white rook doesn't have a great square. If it goes too far, there's going to be some issues perhaps with the skewer. And if it comes to the h4 square, well, now this pawn is left unable to really roll down the board, and perhaps even more importantly, the king is able to come down and begin to tickle the very weak now pawns on h2, f2, and d4. And all of these pawns are weaknesses, and white will not be able to support them all while still making progress, bringing the rook, the pawn up the board. So, okay, I think it's a very minor detail, but to be fair, in this game, it actually ended up deciding the entire result. So I think very instructive. Don't put your king in front of the f-pawn in such structures. You want to lead with your pawn. f7, f5, and again, I'll take you to the game from today, which ended in a draw, largely because Ding Liren correctly played here g5, and you want to use your pawns in the most energetic way possible, and that means generating the counterplay. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the fun story in the Sinquefield Cup, and also maybe some of the instruction that comes along with it. Subscribe if you're new around here, like the video if you learned something from it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.